The house is quiet in that late, hollow way money builds around itself. Polished floors that swallow footsteps, rooms softened by expensive rugs, and a silence that's never innocent. Outside, a storm presses against the glass like a man who wants to be let in. Inside, the billionaire paces, cuff links bright as accusations. He is used to having things go his way. He is used to people apologizing before he tells them what he wants. Tonight, his voice is a new thing, rawer, sharper, because the thing he sees before him refuses to be ordered away. He has found a smear on his salon wall where the boy's small hands had left a map of muddy fingerprints. He has found toys scattered across a carpet that was paid for in thousands, and a pair of scuffed sneakers beneath a couch that has never hosted bare feet. He has called for the maid. She appears at the doorway, steady and unhurried, hands folded, the quiet type who keeps a household running with a volume of dignity he has never learned to respect. "You will make my son black," he shouts, the words thrown like a stone into a pond where they ripple and break everything. The sentence hangs in the air, ugly and precise. For a heartbeat, the maid's face registers nothing but the same calm that has always guarded her. Then something changes in her eyes, heat, not anger but a heat born of long-simmered pain. He didn't mean the boy literally. He meant it as ownership, as punishment, as a prophecy. If the boy spends time with the maid, he will become what the billionaire sees as a lesser thing. He meant culture and blood and lineage as weapons. He meant to wound. He expected submission, perhaps a plea, perhaps silence. He expected the maid to shrink. But she does not shrink. She remembers the first time she held the boy. He was no bigger than a loaf of bread, wrapped in paper and worry, left in the small room above the garage. She remembers how he sniffled and flinched from loud voices and how, when she hummed, he put his head against her chest and the whole house stopped feeling so terrifying. She remembers nights of stolen milk and whispered songs, the slow building of trust like bricks laid with careful hands. She steps closer, but she does not raise her voice. Her tone is plain as a ledger, precise and unadorned. "He is already black," she says. "He is what he is." The billionaire's face twists, a mixture of disbelief and the peculiar shame that wealth cannot ever buy away. His son, his flesh, has the clear, deep brown of the maid's grandmother. He has the full lips that the man calls a problem. The man's hands clench as if he could squeeze the color out of the world. But color is not the point. The point has always been control. "You will ruin him," the man says, quieter now, like someone pacing toward a precipice. The words almost sound reasonable in the room that has trained him to believe money is morality. "You will teach him to think he has rights. You will teach him to want things for himself. You will teach him to expect less from those like me." The maid looks at the boy in the corner building a tower from blocks. He is too young to understand the exchange of adults, but his fingers pause. He senses the electricity. He looks at her, then back at the man. He looks like a child who lives between two different worlds and has to decide which one to call home. "He is not yours to make or unmake," she says. "You did not make him. You signed papers you never read, you left before the second breath had warmed him, you gave money and empty promises. He is his own person. He has my name on the walls of his heart, but not because I told him to. He has it because someone taught him how to speak kindly when someone is frightened, because someone taught him to share the last slice of bread. He has it because love, not your money, made a place safe enough for him to become himself." The billionaire laughs, then a short, harsh sound. He thinks she is being clever. He thinks the maid is trying to shame him with moral platitudes because she knows humiliation will be the only weapon he respects. "You have always seen your kind of love as the only kind that counts," he says. "You wipe floors and warm his foot while the world forgets you exist. You expect gratitude for crumbs." She shakes her head. "Gratitude is not the point. Respect is." She bends and straightens a picture on a bookshelf that doesn't need straightening, an act of domestic choreography that has nothing to do with him. Her voice is steady, even soft, and in that softness there is an unassailable truth. Gratitude is not the measure of a life. This child will grow up loved. He will grow up with boundaries and with someone who shows him respect by calling him by his name. He will know how to tie his shoes, how to apologize, and how to get up when someone knocks him down. He will not grow up with the empty echo of your approval. He lashes out then with the kind of cruelty that wears like a uniform, precise, practiced. It is not only about race. He drags up the maid's past, the landlord who never called back, the school that would not accept a late tuition, the boy's mother who left when the child was 2. He thinks dirt will stick. He is certain the poor can be made visible as dirt if you say it loudly enough. The maid does not flinch. She has heard worse and she has lived through it. Her dignity is not fragile. It is the metal that has been forged by 1,000 small indignities and then polished by the same hands that have mended ripped hems and dried endless tears. She answers like a river answering a storm, not with fury but with inevitability. Do you know what it costs to be who I am? She asks. Do you know what it costs to hold on? She does not wait for an answer he cannot give. You may have riches, she says, but you have never had to wake in the night and listen for your children breathing. You have never had a baby fall asleep cradled against your collarbone and think, for one small, profound second, that everything will be all right because you are there. That knowledge keeps you up and also keeps you whole. It is something your ledger will never buy. The boy looks up and in his eyes there is a question that is not yet language. He recognizes love as a thing that steadies, and in that recognition there is a kind of allegiance that cannot be brokered with money. He will be what he wants to be, the maid continues. Not what you fear. Not what you try to manufacture. If he is kind, if he is brave, if he is gentle, that will not be because I made him an object of revenge. It will be because someone loved him without asking how it would benefit them. That is not ruination. That is rescue. The billionaire's face crumples in a way that startles the room. He has always practiced the look of pain on cue, charity galas, interviews, but this is different. This is the first honest, private ache that has found a seam. His voice loses its edge. The man stammers, and for a man who built empires on certainty, stammering is as dangerous as falling. He begins to speak of the past, halting like a man picking words out of glass. He confesses small things he never meant anyone to know. Nights when he would watch from the balcony while the city pulsed below, nights when he would leave notes in envelopes never sent, times when the safe felt like a hollow chest and money like a mirror that only reflected how much more he wanted. He says quietly that he used to be afraid. Afraid that softness would be a weakness. Afraid that kindness would cost him his edge. The maid listens, but she does not let pity soften her. Pity is not the thing that saves a child. Responsibility is. She knows that his confession is not repentance yet. It is the tremor before it or the last gust of a self-preserving wind. She nods as one watches a storm pass by, making small decisions about what to salvage afterward. Then she speaks with a clarity that makes everyone else in the room, servants who never dared to listen, the boy who is listening, the man who built a house to keep everyone else out, fall silent. If you want to change, you will have to do more than say it aloud, she says. You will have to wake up and be present. You will have to let go of the need to command every corner of his life. You will have to listen when he tells you about his day and not correct him before he finishes. You will have to apologize when you are wrong and mean it. You will have to show him that being gentle does not make you small but makes you brave enough to be human. The man looks at his son then. The boy, no labeling by titles, no shield of money, meets his father's eyes with something steadier than fear, curiosity, the kind that opens doors. The billionaire feels for the first time the thinness of his armor. A memory surfaces, uncertain, hazy, of a woman with kind hands who had once held him as a child and told him it was okay to cry. Perhaps that woman had been long gone. Perhaps he had forgotten her voice. But now, hearing the maid speak, he remembers the shape of tenderness. It breaks something in him. He collapses into a chair, not theatrically, not for an audience, just because his limbs cannot hold him upright. Tears come, sudden and bewildering, and they are not the tears he has ever had the luxury of letting fall. They are the ones that arrive when pretense is stripped away and what remains is a soft, exposed place that has been armored for decades. The boy runs to him without being told. The billionaire flinches as if the touch might be a ploy, but the child wraps his small arms around a man who smells of aftershave and old paper. The embrace is simple. It is not a solution. It is a start. The maid watches them. Her chest tightens, not because she needs their gratitude but because she knows what forgiveness costs. Forgiveness is not a favor you grant to buy your own peace. It is a decision to let go of the claim that another's life be forever shaped by your hurt. She does not demand his thanks. She only asks that the boy be given his due. If you want to make him anything, she says softly, make him strong enough to choose. Make him brave enough to be himself. Teach him that blackness, whiteness, poverty, wealth, these are not verdicts on worth. Teach him that love and decency are measures of a human being worth more than your ledger will ever account for. The billionaire nods, slowly, as if each movement is mapped out in a book he cannot read. His voice is a whisper now. I don't know how, he admits. I was raised in a different calculation. I don't know how to be what you keep saying I should be. Then the woman who has seen the boy from his first breath reaches across the room. She lays a hand on his forearm, the same hand that has wiped counters until they gleam, the same hand that has mended shirts and hearts. There is no condescension in it, only momentum, a passing of a kind of courage that has nothing to do with wealth. Start by listening, she says. Start by staying. Love him without trying to fix him into the shape you planned. Let him tell you his small truths and then hold them like they are sacred. I will help. I will not take him from you. I will not make him mine to break. I will teach him to be honest with you, if you will be honest with him. The billionaire looks at the boy again, and the boy looks back like someone who has found a little light. He reaches his hand out, clumsy, unsure, as if he is learning to do something he once knew how to do. The boy takes it. Outside, the storm eases. Inside, something like a house becomes something like a home, not because the furniture is comfortable or the ceilings grand, but because the people inside decide, quietly and stubbornly, to belong to one another in a way that isn't measured by gifts or titles. The man who once thought of color as a possession learns for the first time what it means to be seen without price. He cries again, this time with the boy tucked into his lap, and the maid watches as tears wash away the edges of old arrogance. They do not erase the past, and they will not fix everything overnight. But they are a start. There is no triumphant music, no grand conversion scene. There is instead slow work. Apologies that are real, lessons that are taught and learned, lunches shared at a table where everyone puts their elbows in. The maid keeps doing what she does best, holding the small things together, and now she does it without being invisible. When the billionaire asks, months later, whether she would accept a different life, a different title, a fairer wage, she laughs, not because she rejects generosity but because the man has finally learned how to offer it as respect rather than charity. He calls her by her name. He learns the name of the child's favorite book. He shows up for school recitals. He sits in waiting rooms without tapping his wristwatch in impatience. Step by step, the house sheds the last of its indifference. And sometimes, very late at night, when the lights are low and the boy is asleep, the billionaire will walk the corridors and stop at the doorway of the maid's small room. He will watch her sleep for a moment and understand, in some new place in his chest, that power is not the ability to make someone less. It is the responsibility not to. In the end, the words thrown like a stone are what started it all, but they did not finish it. The maid's answer, simple, unyielding, human, did what wealth never could. It held up a mirror and let him see not what he had bought but what he had avoided. He cried then because he saw the shape of the man he could be. The tears did not absolve him, but they made room for one thing that had been missing his whole life: humility. And the boy? He grew up with two people who loved him differently and finally agreed to love him together. He learned that his skin was not a sentence but a story, and that the people who love you teach you how to write it yourself.